How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another exciting video. In the last section, we implemented a lot of the functionality for authentication with the logging in and logging out. And then we can also register for an account. Now we're going to see how we can delete our account. And then we're also going to set up some of the URLs and views for the user profile, so that way we can actually go ahead and get our profile and also update our profile. So that's going to be what we're going to tackle in this section. So let's go ahead and do just that. So first I'm going to open up my accounts views and I'm going to have my URLs. So I'm going to need both of these. So now let's go, let's say down at the bottom, I'll put in my delete view. So class delete account view. This is an API view. And then I'm going to define a delete request and then pass in self request format none. Oh. And then here I'm going to have, let's say, username. Actually, I can do user is equal to user.objects.get. And then here, I want to have the user. So user is equal to self.request.user. This is how I'm going to handle this. And then we're going to get that user. So the way we can do that is by doing id is equal to user.id. And then, actually, in order to do a delete, I can't do this get. I have to do filter. So I'm going to filter where the ID is equal to the user ID. And then I'm going to do dot delete. So that's the way I'm going to handle this. And then if everything was successful, then we're going to return a success response here. So then this is going to be success, user deleted successfully. And now if anything goes wrong, we want to catch that. So I'm going to have a try except. And I'm just going to copy this. So except. And this is going to be an error. And it'll just say, something went wrong when trying to delete user. All right, so let's go ahead and test this out now. So I'll bring this in, delete, and then this will be accounts/delete. There you go. Now we have an API route. So let's go ahead, create this delete request. So localhost 8000, accounts, delete. Now let's go ahead and get a CSRF token. Okay, so now we should have our CSRF token. So it should show up here. And there it is. Here's our CSRF token. Now we can use that to log in. There we go. And now when we're logged in, we get this new CSRF token. And now we can use that. And then we go ahead and save this. And maybe I should have saved that as delete account or something. Oh well. So we're going to use this CSRF token now. So if I just go ahead and send this as it is, I'm going to get CSRF failed. So X CSRF token, pass in that token, user deleted successfully. All right. So right now, I want a way to actually see all of the users in here. So in order to do that, I'm going to make a view to get the users. That way I can see that this account actually got deleted more easily. So that's kind of the reason why I wanted to make this view. So first I'm going to make a serializer. So serializers.py. And then from rest framework, import serializers. From Django.contrib.auth.models, import user. And then class user serializer, serializers.model, serializer, class meta. And this is all just stuff from the Django Rest Framework documentation on serializers. And then fields will just be all fields. So double underscore, all double underscore in quotes is how you just have all the fields serialized. And then since I'm going to be using this, I'm just going to bring it in. Let's see, maybe put it below here. So from dot serializers, import user serializer. So now let's go ahead and create the view which will get our users. So class get users view, API view. This will be permission classes allow any. And then also need my serializer class. Actually, no, I don't. So define get request format equals none. And then in here, I'm going to do users is equal to user.objects.all. And then I'm going to have my users serialized. So user, serializer, users. And because there's many of them, I'm going to do many equals true. And then I'm just going to return users.data. Or sorry, what am I doing? I want to put this in a response. Response users.data. There we go. So now let's go ahead and actually create a URL first. So get users view. And I'll put this right at the bottom. Get users view. And I'll do get users. So account/get users is going to access this. So accounts get users. And then this should be good. So I'm just going to save this. So we shouldn't need any kind of CSRF token or anything. This should just work. There we go. We have one user, John Doe. We have another user, Bryan. We have a user, John. And our user, Bob, is no longer here. He got deleted. Now, let me go ahead and delete these other users too. Actually, that'll take quite a bit of time, so I'm just going to not do that. But yeah, you can easily log into these users now, and you can go ahead and delete the account. And then this is a way that you can see what users are actually in here. And one thing that I think I'm going to do actually, now that I'm looking at this, so the serializers, maybe instead of all, I could pass in a few fields like username. Let's see, maybe ID and username. That should probably be good. Yeah. So ID and username. That should make this a little nicer. Because right now it's pretty horrendous looking at all that data. So yeah, those are the only fields we're going to serialize. So we just get back ID and username. And this way you can easily see the accounts in here. All right, so with that, now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and work on the user profile. So user profile, I can close up this stuff now since I'm not working on it anymore. So here, I'm going to want a serializer. So maybe I can go ahead and create that first. And to make this go a little quicker, why don't I just go ahead and copy the serializer I just made. So copy that and paste it right in here. So now the only difference is that I'm just going to call this, instead of user serializer, I'll call it user profile serializer. And then for this model, I'm just going to bring in that profile model that I made. So from .models, import user profile, and then just pass that right here. And then for the profile, I think for this one, I'm going to actually do all. There you go. That's our serializer. And next we have our URLs and views to work on. Yeah, I'll do the views first. So we don't need this. So I'm going to have, so let me open up this view actually, just because a lot of these imports are going to be similar. For example, I'm going to need API view, of course. So I can just bring that in here. I'm also going to need things like response. So these are just obvious things that I need. And then if I need more things, I'll go ahead and import it. So first class is going to be get user profile view. This will get our profile. So API view. I'll define a get method, self request, format equals none. And then let's see. So I'll do user is equal to self.request.user. And then user is equal to user.objects.get, where user is equal to user.id. So this will retrieve this user. And then I also have to bring in user. So I'll just copy this line here. And I'll just put it at the top. All right. And now user profile is user profile, which I also have to bring in. So from .models, import user profile. And then I'm also going to need the serializer. So from .serializers, import user profile serializer. And then here I'm going to do user profile dot objects. And then let's see, I can, I guess, filter where user is equal to user. So yep, that should be good. And then I'm gonna have this sort of serialized. So user profile is equal to user profile serializer, and pass in user profile. Just like that. And then I'm going to return a response, which is just going to be my profile, which is user profile.data. And then I'm going to have my username as well. That's going to be passed back. And this is just going to be string and then user.username. Or yeah, that should be good, or no. So yeah, that isn't going to be good actually. So I need to do ID first off here. ID is equal to user.id. So that's going to give us an instance of the user. And then one thing I can do is have username equals user.username. And then I can use username in here. That should be good. So let's test this out, see if anything goes wrong. And if it does, we'll fix this up. And then I have to create a route for this. So from my views, I want to import that get user profile view, create a path for that. And then for the path, I can do something like user get user profile view dot as view. And let's go ahead and test this out. So we have to be authenticated for this. So let me go ahead and register a new account. So I'll create this Bob account again. And I need to get another CSRF token. So right here. There we go. User created successfully. Now let's go ahead and log in, and that way I can get the profile. So this should have given me a new CSRF token. So let's give this one a try. There you go. User authenticated, so that worked. Oh yeah, and now we get the new CSRF token. Okay, so with this CSRF token, now I can use it to get my profile. So this will be localhost 8000/profile/user. This is my route. And then here you don't actually have to pass that XCSRF token header. It's enough just to have this here. And we got an attribute error. So let's see what went wrong here. Okay, so what's going wrong here is that this should be get, not filter. So we're getting where the user is equal to user. So we're getting this instance and we're passing it here. Let's go ahead and send this. And now we get our profile, which is our profile with ID 2, first name, last name, phone, city, and then we have the user, which it links to user with ID 5. So let's go ahead and get users, and user with ID 5 is Bob. So yeah, this is linking to the correct user, and here's their username. All right, awesome. So now we're able to get the profile. So get user profile. And also let me rename this delete since it's bugging me a little. All right, so now let's go ahead and do the update profile view. So class update user profile view, API view. And here we're gonna define a post request. So self request format none. And then here I'm gonna do user equals self. Actually, just the same stuff as here, basically. So I'm gonna get my user, retrieve the username, and then I'm going to do, just like I did, user is equal to user.objects.get, where ID is equal to user.id. And then here is where I'm gonna do the update. So I'm going to do user profile dot objects dot filter. And now here I'm going to filter so user is equal to user. And then I'm going to do an update. So what I'm going to update is basically all the fields. So data is equal to self.request.data. So we're going to retrieve some data. First name will be data first name. Then we're going to have last name. And then phone and city. And then basically I'm going to update where first name is equal to first name, last name equals last name, phone equals phone, and city equals city. And then user profile equals user profile dot objects dot filter. Actually, dot get, where user is equal to user. And then it's going to be the same as this here. So now let's see if things end up updating. I also have to make a URL path. So let me go ahead and bring in my update view. And then for the URL path, it'll just be update. And, oh yeah, also let's make this a put request because this is updating. All right, so that should be good. So we're sending off a put request. So profile updates. So let me copy this. X CSRF token, paste that in here. And then also need content type. And then let's pass in our fields to update. So first name, so Bob. Last name, Smith, and then phone, and city. Let's say Bob is from Toronto. So 405 method not allowed. Oh yeah, I have to save this here. So I didn't save yet, so that's why that was happening. Let's send that, and there we go. So our profile has been updated. Yep, so everything seemed to have worked out okay. So that is good news. And now, if I go to, oops, I just closed that. So let me go ahead and save this. So update user profile, and then get user profile. Let's do that again. And there we go. Now when we get the user profile, we actually have the profile updated. So that is definitely awesome to see. So now we can both get our profile and we can update our profile. So that basically covers everything for the backend now. So the only thing I'm going to add is just further protect these routes a little more. So just have the try catches. And maybe I'll put this, let's say here, where we're trying to retrieve stuff. Actually, no, let's put it right here. If anything goes wrong, let's just make sure we handle that. So error, something went wrong when retrieving profile. I'm just going to copy this since I'm going to use something similar in a second. So we're going to try all of this. If anything happens to go wrong in this view, we'll make sure our server doesn't crash. Instead, we're going to do something went wrong when updating profile. All right, so that should be everything now for the backend. So now you can see how you can actually implement session authentication with Django Rest Framework and how we actually use the CSRF tokens. And now the next challenge will be to implement our React front end and actually see how we retrieve these CSRF tokens, how we send them in our requests, along with our credentials, and also how we basically get new CSRF tokens when, let's say, we log in, and then use those CSRF tokens in our requests. So we're going to see how to do all of that, and that will all start in the next section where we start implementing the front end of this session-based authentication application. So hope you enjoyed what you've learned here. Make sure to leave a nice big like and subscribe if you enjoy this content and want to see more. And I will see you in the next video where we start continuing off with our front-end implementation.